If this is your passion, if you do have a passion, you have a way. The way will be there. Make sure that you're going with something that you're passionate about. Please catch and acknowledge whether or not what you're doing, whether or not what you're trying to achieve is to please others or to impose on yourself something that you think will make you, more superior to other people, or, more dominant or better than, whatever you are, whatever your talents, you actually possess. So go with your passion. Where there is a passion, there is a road.
Hello, everyone. I am Melissa Forziat of Take the Doughnut, here to help you get inspiration and get donuts. I'm a motivational keynote speaker, and today I'm bringing you a Take the Doughnut interview with Francheska Perepletchikova, who I'm very excited to talk with today. Dr. Francheska Perepletchikova is an associate professor in psychiatry at University of Massachusetts Medical School, the chief training officer at the Comprehensive Training Center, and the treatment developer of Dialectical Behavior Therapy for children. Welcome, Francheska.
So much, Melissa. This is such an honor and a privilege. And we worked together before in different capacities. So right before this interview, you said, hey, we worked so much together, but we didn't connect on a personal level in terms of the personal stories. And what a donut to take right now to actually do this.
I was
So it's
so excited to talk with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I was thinking about that. I was saying that, and it is interesting when you work with somebody and you see this whole dimension, this professional dimension of them, but you know that there are other dimensions to explore. And that could be true for any dimension of somebody's life that you explore. When there's other elements that you haven't talked about, it's like there's this whole world of you that I've never thought about or unpacked. And we get to do it today.
At some point, I'll need to interview you about your donuts outside of the one that you talked about on your channel, the actual donut.
Okay, count me in. I'm all for it. That sounds amazing. Well, I mean,
Have you
look,
been interviewed
I
about your
haven't.
donuts? Oh my God, it's a date.
Let's do it. Yes. Oh my gosh, little old me. Yeah. Yes, I'm so excited to get into the more personal questions, but first I have to ask, what's your favorite donut?
Well, as you invited me to this wonderful podcast to record this video with you, I had a thought about, all right, so what is my favorite donut? What are my donuts? And is it possible for us to talk about that at maybe later time today? Because the very first thing that came to my mind needs a little bit of a journey to it.
Okay. Well, do you want to signal to me when it's natural to bring that up in conversation?
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh, I like this because I feel like you've come prepared for some of the other questions I'm going to ask, maybe.
I would
This is
imagine. Yes.
exciting.
Let's see. Let's
My
see.
goodness. Well, okay, so I said just a little bit about you up front, but tell us more about yourself. What should we know about you in the big picture?
While I'm a clinical psychologist, it has been a very interesting road of how I actually ended there. And I come from former Soviet Union. I came here when I was 21, right before the Soviet Union, collapsed. And us coming here, me and my family, was probably one of the biggest donuts that we have actually taken and used, because Soviet Union opened the doors for people to escape only within specific periods of time. And we learned that the period has, arrived and the doors were open, and we were able to just fit right in and slip away, we as refugees to United States of America. So that was one of the donuts, right? And I came here and I was actually able to do something that I always wanted to do. I always wanted to do something that would be with psychology. I was always psychologically minded. People would just come to me since I was a child and talk to me and give me their stories. And I was a child, I wasn't sure, like, why are you coming to me? What can I offer? I don't know much about anything, but I guess something about me attracted them. I'm still here to figure out what it is. But the thing is that it seemed that it was helpful to them. And one thing led to the other, and I felt more and more in touch with that interest of mine. We all have multiple interests, right? One of the other interests that I had since early age, I was actually in movies in Ukraine. So as a child, so that is the donut that my parents took. When I was 3 months old, a casting director from the Odessa studios actually saw me, and I was a very cute baby, and casted me. And I actually came to be part of that experience for many, many years up upon my immigration. So I have like 14 movies or something like that, like episodic roles, sometimes like, second, supporting, actress. But thinking back, how everything, at least in my life, kind of like, even though it looked like dispersed, it all came and funneled into one particular task that I'm doing right now. My experience being an actress was very useful for me in terms of my understanding of who I am, me being comfortable with how I am, me being comfortable in front of the camera, in front of the audiences, which helped me tremendously in what I do right now, having my own YouTube channel, doing trainings in front of hundreds of people, and being very comfortable to do that, right? So when I came here in the United States, I was able to take a donut that United States offered to me, which is actually become a psychologist, because in former Soviet Union, we had psychiatry as a field, but psychology was more esoteric. It was not really used much for clinical purposes. So I couldn't do much with that interest back there. And when I came here, I was like, all right, this is my opportunity to actually do what I want to do. And it was very scary. Like the whole immigration, as you can imagine, was very, very scary. And when I came here, it's uprooting your entire life. And I came here, I didn't know anything about anything. I didn't know how to apply, what to do, what do you need to have, what kind of qualifications to apply for graduate school. So all of that was painstakingly, bit after bit after bit, learned on my own experience. I didn't have anybody to teach me and to guide me. But what I was able to do, I was able to throw myself in and say, I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I don't know what's going to happen out of it. I have that passion. I'm going to follow my passion. Let's see what happens, right? So kind of like this curiosity stance that I think that I have and possess since childhood. I was always a very curious child, kind of mischievous as well, but let's call it curious, right? I can really relate to the parents that I help with their children who may also be quite mischievous. Like, I know what your child is experiencing. I've been there, right? So I came to this stance right now where I am going through all of the ups and downs of figuring things out. And I now look back in the hindsight, every little bit of how things play out led me to that spot. And it, in my mind, now looking back, like, how else could it have been? It's almost, it was kind of predetermined in a way, even though I didn't know about this, right? And what you call donuts, in my mind, the synonym to that is like fork in a rope, right? Like to take the donut, not to take the donut. And actually, at any juncture in time, we have not just two ways to go. We have infinite possibilities of how we can respond. Some of them are very close together in how we respond, and some of them vastly different. And I think that donuts are those possibilities that is obvious. They're just given to you. You don't have to think about it. It's, the life is presenting it to you, right? So, and being on that journey, I learned a lot about myself. I had two beautiful children. Luckily, I had them when I already had received PhD in clinical child psychology, and I knew what to do with them. I joke a lot, like how people can have children, have the audacity to have children without having clinical child psychology first, because it's so hard to raise children. It's one of the most it's a job that's most important for us, right? What a responsibility to raise another human being, and most of the time we're not prepared to do this, right? uh, we all think they'll be beautiful, wonderful parents. Why do we think so? Seriously, right? When I ask people that question and I say, like, how do you know you're going to be this beautiful, wonderful parent? They say, I don't know. And I say, what kind of parenting did you receive? Were your parents wonderful models? And most of the people say, oh no, my parents really, screwed up in this area, in that area. And then I say, then wait a second, then how would you be that parent that you want to be? And they say, well, I will do everything opposite to what my parents did. Well, number one, it's not possible because you're programmed, right? Your parents modeled to you what to do. And number two, even if you're a superhuman and you can do against, right, and go against your programs, you don't know what to do. You only know what not to do, and you have the capacity to do it, right? So parenting, in my mind, teaching the parents how to parent their children is, of course, in my mind, is one of the most important tasks, because we're bringing in generations of people that will then know what to do with their children. And then, so we kind of like have this domino effect in a way, helping not just this family, not just that child, but helping maybe their children and their children in a way. Because what I actually do, if gist of that, I teach parents how to love themselves and how to teach their children to love themselves as they are. And therefore, from giving to themselves, now they can have something to give to other people. And, I can't imagine anything more important, at least for me, than to teach and actually practice this unconditional love that we talk about a lot, but don't know how to reach. And what we actually do is we start to assign conditions of good enoughness, right? I need to be tall enough, thin enough, successful enough, beautiful enough, whatever enough, and only then I can love myself, right? This is insane. We're assigning conditions to something unconditional, right? So teaching parents so that they can teach their children and other people how to connect to your self-love as you are. Beautiful, wonderful creation, never before, never after, will be a beautiful creation like you, like me. And teaching them how to indeed be in this dialectical balance of, I just am an entity, neither good nor bad. And I can succeed, fail, people like me, people don't, right? The dialectic of our existence. When we don't know how to do that, everything is being merged into one side. Everything becomes conditional. I succeed, I'm good. I fail, I'm bad, right? And that causes misery. As soon as we are one-sided, we're stuck, right? So in the if you were to boil it down, that's pretty much what I do.
Oh my goodness. I mean, first of all, what a ride you just took us all on, including me. I always thought your voice, just your voice alone, without even the words that you're saying, it's this combination of soft and strong. Like you have a strong thing to say and you lull me into submission with it, and it's so beautiful. But your journey is just
Little
so
bit.
powerful.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. I wanted to say that my accent, I still have an accent. People said it actually helps somehow.
Oh, interesting. That's
Right.
really cool. Yeah. Well, you also did in weaving together the fabric of the story of your life, you also were able to segue into what Take the Donut means. So I'm just gonna hit the reset button for those who have never seen a Take the Donut interview before, but Francesca's already helped set me up for this. So for me, Take the Donut is an expression. It's the same thing as Carpe Diem. It's all about going after the things that you want in life. And for me, it came from this strange thing that happened when I was in college, where I left an actual donut on a table and it became almost instantly an object lesson for me and what it looks like to leave opportunity behind. So I don't want to do that anymore. I want to take the donut. Or Francesca, as you were saying, it's like that fork in the road moment, right? Do you leave it on the table or do you take it? So this conversation really is all about going after the things that you want and what that looks like for us, practically speaking, when we go to do it. When real people try to do the things they want to do, what happens to them? So for you, let me start with this question. How are you with going after goals? What is that process like for you?
Um, well, I dialectic, okay? This is what I actually teach, and that's why, of course, I embody and I practice. Again, for us to be effective, we need to always balance the dialectics, right? And when we talk about dialectics, one side and the other side, they're not the same. They're complementary. Day, night, good, bad, right? Yin, yang, life, death. So complementary. And one side will always be stable, doesn't really matter what you touch, right? And the other one will always be flexible. Going after goals, right? One side is I need to know exactly what my goal is. I need to have means to achieve my goals, and I need to acquire skill to apply my means to my goals effectively, right? That's stable. And no attachment to outcome. This is where the curiosity comes. We are so attached to outcomes because we paint that picture of how things need to be, and then we enforce that picture on the reality, and reality doesn't match. The only thing we get out of that is disappointment. So whenever I am entering into an experience, again, I'm trying to balance the dialectic of both of those sides, always having an understanding what is it that I'm going to, and being flexible, not being attached to how exactly it needs to happen or whether or not it needs to happen altogether. Because how many times we had those experiences when we didn't get what we wanted, got something else, and then later on said, oh, you know what? I'm so happy that I didn't get what I was originally thinking about, because now what I got is so much better. Because at the end, we only know what we want. We don't know what we need. So my going with the goals is being in that dialectic and constantly checking with myself, am I attached to the outcome, or am I continuing to be in the curiosity? Because curiosity by itself presupposes non-attachment.
Ooh, what an interesting way to like explode my question. It's so cool. It's like, how are you with going after goals? You're like, let's talk about the goal. That's so good. So interesting. Okay, so this presents a really interesting new picture here because if it's more about the curiosity, what keeps you motivated as you keep moving forward?
My passion, because what I do is actually my passion. I'm so fortunate to be able to do what I love and to see that I actually can help people and they actually get better. And I work with children and families, but my actual niche is suicidology. So I work with suicidal clients, adults, adolescents, and unfortunately children can also become suicidal. And being a suicidologist, seeing that my clients actually through work, it's not easy, go from self-hate to connecting to their self-love to embracing themselves as they are, neither good nor bad, just entities of human beings, that they can use it for themselves and they can actually start giving to other people. That what keeps me motivated. That what keeps me going, because I can never get enough of that. I always want more and more and more of those experiences. So in a way, I'm very selfish, right? Because anytime my client who came to me who wanted to kill, and some of them did indeed kill themselves and did die. And that will get us to my biggest donut that I wanted to talk to you about today. And seeing the progress that they made, I just cannot get enough of that. That keeps me motivated. And my clients are my main teachers. So I learn from them about life. I learn from them even about death. So how else can I not love to just do what I do on an everyday basis? It's amazing. It's exciting. It's such a journey and such a passion.
Mm.
Do you want me to give you an idea about my donut?
Well, let me ask another question first before
Okay.
we get there. So a lot of times when we're going after things that we want, even if they seem very obvious and right in front of us, a lot of times challenges come up, obstacles come in our way, all part of the process, I guess, of exploring the curiosity, like you were talking about. So I'm curious for you if there's a particular brand of challenge that comes up over and over again. So, like, no matter what it is you're going towards, you can expect to see this Achilles heel, this challenge rear its head. What is that for you?
Me, me. Um, the information field in which we exist, unfortunately, programs us to be self-critical, self-deprecating, self-judgmental, and we are programmed to see self-love as something being selfish, right? We're not supposed to love ourselves. We're supposed to love other people somehow without loving ourselves first. How that possible? I don't know. But there are all kind of those insane notions that this information field presents to us. So all of these programs, once you learn something, you can't unlearn that. It's there. And it's, that program, that malware, if you want to call it, right, that virus program is sooner or later is going to pick its head when we're most vulnerable or in crisis or tired or something, right? So catching those virus programs, that's one of the things that I do. I help people make as many of those virus programs conscious awareness of them, because a lot of the time we do a lot of things without even realizing why we're doing it. And that's why we keep doing the same thing, expecting different result, even though it backfires. It's because there is a program, there is a function, there is a reason for it. We just don't know what it is. So part of psychology, part of therapy is making those programs conscious so we can get a freedom of choice from them and actually have an opportunity to override them. But first we need to make them conscious. Now, I know a lot of my programs. I'm naming them as they are every time they rear their ugly head, so to speak, and say, oh, no, hi, my program about this, hi, my program about this. However, this is an ongoing challenge. This is never resolved. This and new programs, we're bombarded with all new programs over and over again. So my biggest challenge, if we think about it, is continuously learning how to continue to give to myself what I need, and not go with those malware that was installed of being self-critical, self-deprecating, right? And my biggest challenge is anger, believe it or not. Yes. We all, come into this world predisposed, right? We don't come tabula rasa, right? We don't come blank slate. We come already like with this hardware, so to speak, with all of our instincts, self-preservation, our talents, our learning differences. We also predisposed to how we're going to be reacting to stress. Some people react to stress with anxiety, they run away, right? Or freeze. Some people, with sadness, they become, hopeless. Some people with anger, whatever it may be. So I'm predisposed to react with anger, right? And I know that about myself. So my biggest challenge is actually my anchor, and working on it every single day, and sometimes multiple times a day, catching it, understanding where it comes from, overriding it, and learning from that so that I can teach other people to do the same. That's the challenge that I was given.
Okay, my goodness, what an interesting conversation. The transparency is just so beautiful, Francheska. When we were talking about motivation, it started to bring up for you the conversation about what your biggest donut is that you've taken. So let's address that now. What's the biggest donut you've taken in your life?
All right. So now that I put the foundation of where I'm coming from, the audience will be able to understand what the donut is all about. The very first thing that came to my mind when you invited me to this podcast, and I asked myself, so what is my donut? That is the one that came up. And Melissa, your podcast is a donut for me to actually publicly bring that donut out. I never talked about it publicly. I do talk about with some of my clients who are spiritual and who derive coping, right, from spirituality. Not all of my clients, but some of those who do, I discuss it with them, but I have never took it publicly. I never discussed this publicly. So remember I mentioned that I'm a suicidologist, and I have actually had some clients who killed themselves and actually died and got revived. And, some of them I, had a pleasure to know them, and they came to me after those experiences, and what they told me of what they experienced on the other side was absolutely marvelous and mind-boggling. And I was sitting with those experiences and thinking about it and thinking about it. And I am a spiritual person, although I'm a scientist at heart. And that's what I do. I do, psychological science, and I run randomized trials and other research. And I'm also a clinician and, a trainer. But I'm a very spiritual person. I've always been that way. Always felt that connection to something above and beyond the ordinary and the now. And it just was sitting with me, and I was thinking about it. And that was the donut that was given to me. So like 4 times. I had 4 of those clients, 4 times. And I didn't go beyond. I didn't take it. I didn't bite it back then. For some reason, when I was actually ready, I guess, to bite it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, one day I was like, I was sitting there and thinking about this, and I was like, why am I only thinking about the experiences of my client? There must be other experiences. There must be other people who also went through such experiences. And I went on YouTube. And oh my God, my mind exploded. It's called near-death experience. And there are hundreds and thousands of people and cases that discuss the experiences and what they saw and where they've been and what they learned. And also from there, I learned that there are research institutes that are actually looking into that phenomenon and actually have been able to provide evidence based on our current research methods and how we do research and what we understand as evidence that, yes, we don't die. Yes, afterlife exists. And, just the experiences that people have, there's when we talk about science, we talk about pattern, right? And there's just so much pattern in what the people are describing. That's just one of the small evidence to that, being real. And the pattern, for example, that I have heard from my clients and other people with the NDE, that they saw a tunnel, they went through light, and they experienced unconditional love. And me hearing that and understanding that and seeing the entire universe of experiences like that beyond the clients that I heard it from, kind of like set me down. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it makes sense to me on such a deep level, because this is, I guess, what I do. Because this is what I am here, I guess, to do. To teach people how to love themselves unconditionally and how to love others unconditionally, to whichever degree we humanly can. And of course, like we're human beings, we are plagued by doubt, right? And of course, on some level, I doubt it. And of course, I cannot, it's not a matter of belief. There is empirical evidence, but how many times you have empirical evidence of something and you still don't kind of own it, right? So of course, I'm not kind of like, oh my God, I fully connect to this. And I guess I will fully connect once I'm on the other side and like, oh yeah, okay, fine. Now I know because I'm experiencing it myself. But that experience was, and the knowledge of that is so grounding to me, because everybody's searching for the meaning of life. So that experience was grounding to me, because even though I was going through the steps, even though I was already doing it, I didn't know the name for my meaning of life. And my meaning of life is to help people to learn how to love themselves as they are, neither good nor bad, just entities called human beings, when no conditions are assigned, just because. And teach their children how to do this, so that they'll teach their children how to do this. There's just so much division and war and hate in this world. The more we can do that, in my mind at least, that's what I have the purpose and the passion for.
Mm. So that answer may be the same answer for this question because you're talking about the biggest donut you've taken and it's connected to these clients that you've had where you've really absorbed the experiences that they've had and translated that into something for you. And what would you say is a donut you're taking right now? Is it the same thing or is there something else in progress for you?
Um, the donut, I think that all of the donuts that I have collected so far, this is like quality, quantity, quantity, quantity into quality. A lot of them resulted in, multiple qualitative jumps. So the donut that I am taking right now, they're actually multiple. I'm presented with opportunities on how to help people train, how to in approaches using artificial intelligence, using other things that we have developed as humans in terms of the technology, because as we know, actually we do know this, people, when we do trainings, and that's one of the things I do, I train clinicians, I train parents, of course I train children. When they go through training, they don't retain as much information. So usually within a week, research shows about 80% of the information that they have learned is no longer there. That's not good. we can't continue to do trainings with that, retention rate. So my new donut that I was presented was, entering into all kind of collaborations to actually enhance, improve our ability to provide that knowledge and for people to retain it.
So powerful. What an impact you're describing that you're having in the world. And with that in mind, there are people watching this right now who may have a donut of their own they want to take, and it could still be an idea for them, or it could be something that they've started moving towards and they're looking for encouragement to get a little further along in that process. So let's sprinkle some encouragement. And what would you say to those people?
If this is your passion, if you do have a passion, you have a way. The way will be there. Make sure that you're going with something that you're passionate about. Please catch and acknowledge whether or not what you're doing, whether or not what you're trying to achieve is to please others or to impose on yourself something that you think will make you, more superior to other people, or, more dominant or better than, whatever you are, whatever your talents, you actually possess. So go with your passion. Where there is a passion, there is a road. And go with curiosity, no attachment to outcome. And you will arrive. And remember that we don't know what we need. We only know what we want. And in my experience, my own experience, and I have counseled so many clients through my life, and not just clients, also my friends and acquaintances, they also come to me and talk to me about their experiences. I see the same pattern. If that's a passion, it doesn't matter how scary it may be, doesn't matter how doable it may seem at the moment. If you're given a talent, if you're given a passion, if you're going with what you own, if it's not imposed by other people, or it's not an imposition from yourself, there is a road, you will arrive. Go with curiosity.
See, I knew this was going to be good encouragement. This is so good. I just sat back and I was ready. Whatever you were going to say, I was ready for it. Well, so for those who want to find you on your journey, I know there's a lot of resources out there from you that people can find, but tell us where we can find you. What link should I put in the description?
Well, I have several things that I can offer to the world. My website, childdbt.com, as simple as that, presents all kind of information to parents and to clinicians about what DBT-C is all about self-love, about core senses, about all kind of things that people may want to learn about. I also have there a super parenting course for parents who actually want to learn to be super parents and not just be good enough parents. And sometimes, we have children who may be emotionally vulnerable or may have, psychological issues, or even just regular kids. Listen, anybody can benefit from having a super parent, seriously, right? And it's not about age. You can have a 60-year-old child and you're 80, you still need to know how to validate, how to unconditional love your kid, how to reinforce, how to develop a giving, positive relationship with that child, right? It's not about age. So I'm welcoming people to look at the course, and I also have courses for clinicians. This is the Comprehensive Training Center, a website that you can visit to see what courses are available there. I also have a YouTube channel where I talk about all of these. Actually, this month, 2 days ago, I posted a YouTube video on self-love. Talk about serendipity, right? So there's a vast quantity of resources out there to learn and to find me and to connect with me.
Perfect. Well, everybody be sure to check out those resources. Francheska really has a lot of interesting information out there. So please go down some rabbit holes here, do some digging, and you're going to find a lot of good information. And if you liked hearing Francheska's story, be sure to like and subscribe on this video because there's so many inspirational interviews still to come. But Francheska, thank you so much for taking time and talking with me about this.
My privilege. I don't get to talk about me much. I hear other people's stories. So in a way, Melissa, you provided me with a window of opportunity, a donut, to actually talk about me. Can you imagine? That's a rare opportunity.
That's why this was so interesting for me because I've helped put some of your videos onto YouTube. I know how much information you share, but it hasn't been personal information necessarily about you. And so it made me very curious to learn more about your story and your life. And you gave us a bit of a window into that today. And I'm so appreciative of that. And to everybody who's watching this, thank you so much for watching. I hope this inspires you to do some more research on Francheska and go out there in your own life, get inspiration and get donuts. Bye, everyone.
Bye.